In this video, I'm going to demonstrate attaching shooting line to your shaft. The first method I'm going to talk about is the monofilament and the crimp. With the crimp, we're going to crush it in two different directions. We're going to start by pressing it down through the figure 8 direction, and then we're going to come in back in and get it from the sides. So the first thing we do, you put the monofilament through the crimp and through the shaft, and then back through the crimp again, so it causes a loop. Now, I read some debates online. Some people say you should, some people say you shouldn't melt the end. I hit it really quick with the lighter so that it mushrooms the end back out just a little bit, and that's going to help prevent it from sliding back through once I have everything done. So I want my crimp to come out just ahead of this notch. I don't want it to be down in the notch and interfere with loading the gun. So I want it right about there. I'm going to do the first crimp. Like I said, it's going to go from the side. I'm going to take this first notch on my crimping tool. There's the first two circles. That space in between those two circles is going to go down right there onto the crimp. So that puts a nice little dent in the crimp, presses it down in between. Now, I don't do it right on the end. Usually I start somewhere in the middle and work my way out to each end, 4 squeezes. But like I said, I'm not trying to crush the whole thing. I'm not trying to compress the line at this point. Basically, I'm closing this circle around the mono, and that's going to hold pretty well. And there's where I want my crimp. It's right where I need it to be. So now I come in that first circle, it goes around the barrel, and I put it right in the middle of the crimp, and I press it down into the middle. And then when I crush it in from the sides, now it doesn't open that up. It makes sure that you've got it sandwiched well right in there, the center of that barrel, that indentation. So now I'm going to do another one, another squeeze, and that's a crimp compressed from all sides. Now, the reason I don't go out to the end, you can see it's kind of flared, and that flare helps prevent the mono from getting cut. If I were to crimp right on the edge, I'm going to dig into that monofilament and it's going to start wearing at the mono. Now, on the other end, once I wrap my loops around the line holder and everything, and I have the proper length, I put it up against I pull this and find out where exactly I want it. And I do the same thing. I just put another crimp on this end so that it's going to be attached to my snap swivel. Now for the Dyneema or Spectra, whichever you prefer for a shooting line. This method takes a little longer. You've got to tie the knots, and there's a wide variety of different knots you can use. But the way I do it for this end, and you can use a simple bowline knot, but I use 2 opposing slip knots. First, I start by tying a loose knot, just a regular overhand knot, keep it kind of loose, and then pass the line through the eyelet. Now, when this knot's tied, this line is coming from the bottom and out to the spear. If it was turned over and it was going down through the bottom, I want to make sure I pass the line the same side. I don't want to go in against it. It'll make a messier knot at the end. So have my overhand knot, and I bring my line through it, and I pull the knot down. Now this is a slip knot. If I hold on to this, it slides right across. So I want to pull that slip knot all the way down so that it's on the end. And now I have my free end right here, and I have my other end going out to my roll. I want my slip knot to end up in the same way as the steel crimp. I want it to end up right in this area. So when I tie the knot, it's going to end up here. This slip knot and this slip knot are going to come down and meet in the middle. So I'm going to want to tie the knot so that it ends up somewhere in that area. So the knot I use on this side is I have the two ends together, I pinch them, and I wrap it over, forming one loop. Then I wrap it over to form a second loop, and then keep doing that 2, 3, 4 times, however many times you care to. Just one more, and the last time when it comes through, I have all these loops, and that free end comes through. Now I want to make sure that all this stays in that same spot, but it ends up way up the line, so I have to pass. I usually pull it down a little bit so that I have this whole free end out here, and I can pull it down close to where I want it. And it takes some fiddling to get the line to cooperate for one, but to go back down. So I just kind of twist it around there, keep pulling it down, and I kind of roll it around and work it until I finally get my halfway point where I want it, which that's about right. Basically, like I said, I'm just twisting this so that it wraps and I can get the excess out to my free end. So once I have that just about right, I pull the knot down, and now I have another slip knot at this end. If I pull on this one and this one, it tightens the knot. So now if I pull on this cord, I'm holding, this cord is passing right through, and the knot will slide right over the top. And now I want to pull this slip knot up, my knots will come together. If I pull the right two cords, they'll come together, and those two slip knots will bear down on each other, that down and out of the way. But just like the other, the crimp, when the shaft goes in, this is not down in here and in the way. And now I've got to attach it to the muzzle bungee, just like I did with the other one. Basically, I'd run my wraps out. I'm going to use the free end here, and once I found the length that I wanted, I just pull it tight, and then I would hook a knot in.